Respectfully, if you're one of those people that thinks you can beat a gorilla in a fight, you need to check yourself at the door before listening to this podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to Talking to Myself, episode 21. I am your host, Dante Toro. And yeah, there's been this trend going around on Twitter and social media the last few days. And when I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about today and putting the topics together and everything, I would have been upset at myself if I didn't take the time to really just dive into this conversation, this discourse, or this craziness that is going around Twitter right now. So there has been this. I love social media. People like Twitter is not a great place to be on, but there are some gems on that website. Twitter is such a bad place, but it can be one of the funniest and just one of the most like ridiculous social media sites. Same with like Instagram and stuff like that. The Instagram reels are, you could literally watch someone get killed in literally in broad daylight, and then you go on your feed and you see your girl from college post a picture with her new kid or something like that. Instagram, social media sites are so weird, but Twitter, I love. I love going on the For You page in Twitter and just looking at all these accounts I don't follow, seeing all these memes, funny ass tweets. And I've been seeing a lot of funny ass tweets of people thinking that they could beat a gorilla in a fight. So the whole thing, I don't know how this started, but right now, the trend on Twitter, or the question is, could 100 people beat one gorilla in a fight? Just one gorilla. Now, let's peel, look behind the curtain. Let's peel it back here, okay? Let's analyze this. When you look at the 100v1, you look at those numbers, that's 99 more, okay? So you got bodies, you got numbers there. I got you. You do have more than one. There's 100 of you and one gorilla. That is very true. And I remember we had conversations like this at Lumberland where it was like, what animal could you beat in a fight? And there's not many animals in this world that I think we could genuinely beat in a one-on-one fight, never mind 100v1. The people that say that they could withstand a gorilla or be a part of that group of 100 people to kill a gorilla, I hate to be disrespectful, but I think you might be slightly brain dead, because a gorilla is vicious. I don't know if you guys are aware of, like, we're talking about a fucking gorilla, a beast, a wild animal that will rip your face off, that will rip your limbs from your body, hold it up like a trophy, beat its chest, and then snack on your arm afterwards. I mean, there have been, I know it's like, it wasn't a gorilla, it was like a monkey, but like there have been instances in the past where these animals have turned on people. Some people have them as pets. I don't know if you guys remember this story. I forget who it was. This was back when I was a kid. I think it had to have been like 2000s. This woman, I should be careful with how I'm typing this because I don't want the picture to come up. Woman gets her face ripped off by a monkey. I think she had a pet monkey, or her neighbor had a pet monkey. This was in 2009. So a chimp attacked this woman, Charla Nash. I'm telling you who this is and stuff like that. Do not look this up if you get uncomfortable looking at certain people's face getting ripped apart by monkeys. If that makes you queasy, don't look it up. So this woman, Charla, got attacked by a pet chimpanzee named Travis for 12 minutes in 2009. So her owner was a woman named Sandra. Okay, so it was a different, this chimp belonged to someone else. She received a full face transplant. She lost her nose, lips, and an eyelid in her hands when the animal, which was kept by a friend as a pet, attacked her. She was also left blind. She was also given 2 new hands, but they later had to be removed. I could never imagine. This was in Connecticut. She got operated on in Brigham in Boston. Wow. I did not know it was that close to home. That was just one instance. That's just one person. That was a chimpanzee, not a gorilla, just a chimpanzee that was being held as a pet for whatever reason. You're one of those people that believe you could beat a gorilla. That's crazy. Now, if we want to think about like other animals we could, I remember going back to the whole Lumberland thing. Name an animal that you could beat in a fight. No, there's no weapon. I should clarify, there's no weapons involved. You can't bring an AK, you can't bring a shotgun, you can't bring Knives, you can't bring knives to a gorilla fight. You can't do anything like that. It's just free, just your fist, your legs, your just everything you got in your body. I said, now this was a few years ago, so I was a little younger at the time, and maybe I was a little over my head. And now that we're thinking about it now, maybe not. I said a giraffe. The reason why I said a giraffe, now bear with me, that's gonna come off and be like, we're talking about not being able to fight a gorilla, but you bring up a giraffe. The motherfuckers are huge. The giraffe's leg is probably twice the size of my entire body. Listen. The reason why I said giraffe I could beat in a fight is because, yes, they have long legs and stuff, but they're also very skinny. And since they're like so high up, I feel like I can go after their lower legs and bring them down to my size. And yes, I don't have weapons, I don't have anything like that, but I got elbows, I got fists, I got knees, I got stuff I can work with. If I get the giraffe down to my level, I'm not saying I'm gonna beat it, but I get a better chance than if it were, standing up. Because a giraffe now, if I get it down to my level, it's at a disadvantage. It's not standing anymore. So its balance is all off. It's all thrown off. Where like a gorilla or another animal, it's going to be on its feet the whole time. So it's always going to be moving. If I get the giraffe down and I get it to stay in one place, I can just go to pound town on that thing. You know what I mean? Pause. And I would never do this to an animal. Okay. I would never harm a giraffe. I want to make that very clear. This is all hypothetical. If it was me versus a giraffe 1v1 and I had to fight for my life, I like my chances. I'm going to be, I like my chances. I might be getting ahead of myself. I might be talking crazy right now, and people, the look on your face right now is like, Dante, go see a giraffe and see how you feel afterwards. So I know that's a kind of crazy one, but I'm trying to think of a more realistic animal that you could beat in a fight, because a gorilla is off the table. I think if I'm able to form a team like an Avengers of 100 people to take down a gorilla, I think we got a chance. If I can get a Brock Lesnar, or I can get a John Jones, and I can get a fucking, I don't know, like, I'd say bodybuilders. Some guys are like juiced up or something like that. You need smart men, you need big men, and you need to strategize too. You can't just be throwing 100 people at a gorilla. Also, didn't clarify, I'm not too sure if this was a one at a time type of thing, or everyone at once. If it's a one at a time thing, this whole conversation is not necessary, and we can just throw all this out the window. Because if it's one person goes in followed by another, that gorilla, the only reason why it's going to lose is because it's going to be tired out. It's going to tire itself out from killing everyone that's being put in front of him. If you throw everyone at him at once, that's the only chance you have, and the chance is very small. The only way that you do that is if you put together a solid group. And let's draft a group of people that we can have potentially defeat a gorilla in it's not timed or anything like that. Let's look up greatest athletes of all time. I mean, this one, that might not be the best search, because I don't think Tiger Woods and Michael Jordan are going to help me out here. Greatest physical athletes of all time. How about that? I actually still don't know if that'll help me out. But we have to think of guys like, even like, listen, might not be the most jacked, like, muscular, like a Brock Lesnar or a John Jones, like a Usain Bolt. Again, we got to think strategy here. We can't just be, especially if we have everyone in there at once, like Brock and John Jones, you expect them to be the intimidators, or maybe the front linemen, you can say. The guys that are going to be taking a bulk of the damage, can be a lot of the heavy lifting. Someone like Usain Bolt, you throw in there, have him run around and stuff, throw the gorilla off, make him run after him, lower his... Okay, listen, now that I'm talking it out loud and stuff like that, I think we could actually put together a solid team. Because if you get someone like Usain Bolt running around, that gorilla is going to tire itself out. And once he's tired out, you have Brock Lesnar go in there, give him a few suplexes, a few F5s. I'm just saying, I think we might be able to do something there. Bo Jackson, big motherfucker. That guy, I would have him lay a few fucking elbows on that gorilla. Who, like, like obviously we can think of like boxing and stuff. I probably wouldn't put Floyd Mayweather in there because he's too small. Like Muhammad Ali's, a prime Mike Tyson. Like right now, I'm not gonna pick Mike Tyson that just went up against Jake Paul. Mike Tyson would actually be a baller pick. So Mike Tyson, John Jones, and Brock Lesnar, Usain Bolt. Those are the four that we recruited right now. Maybe you get some height. Like I know I'm just looking at like athletes. Maybe I should look up greatest human beings of all time. Maybe I shouldn't get out of athletes. Arnold Schwarzenegger, people are saying for bodybuilding and stuff like that. Sure, Usain Bolt comes up again. Which historical figure had the best combination of physical strength and intelligence? This is what we're looking for here. Okay, Caesar, like a Roman general like Caesar, Julius Caesar. Okay, we're getting out there. I like that. Who strongest warrior in the history of mankind? An SS soldier in North Africa. Is there a name for this guy? There's like a whole story about this guy. William the Marshal served under 5 kings, fought in hundreds of tournaments without a single loss, in numerous more lethal wars, but died of an old age in bed. Whoa, I just found something where it's like a list of the most like best soldiers. Cyrano de Bergerac was a world-renowned poet and soldier who faced 100 professional soldiers on a narrow bridge to defend that bride all by himself, and then successfully escaped after his comrades had managed to flee, as none of the surviving enemies were in any way eager to get too close to his blade. Damn. What in the world? Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I'm recruiting right now. Kudaloon, also known as Uruk, also Moonlight is what it translates to, was the great-granddaughter of Genghis Khan and was probably tougher than 3 or 4 or maybe even more average men all rolled together, and is famed for winning so many wrestling matches, okay, against potential suitors that she had won 10,000 horses before she met a man that she feared to fight. Why? Because she was afraid she might beat him, and this time she wanted to get married. Whoa. Huh. Interesting. So we got some options. I think we definitely can go outside the sports circle here for that. I kind of got off track there and got caught up in some research. I think if we are able to construct a group like an Avengers and are able to put together that group to beat a gorilla, I think that's our only chance. If you pick 100 guys off the street, 100 men and women off the street, I'm sorry. But I'm going to tell those men and women to call your loved ones, family, friends, wife, husband, kids, whoever, mother, father, that you are going to die because you are not going to survive a guerrilla attack. I am not going to be stupid enough to say that I would even participate and 2 have a chance. Not going to happen. You'll find me on the nightly news. Man from Boston, Massachusetts gets every bone in his body broken and every limb ripped off by a gorilla. Let me know in the comments what animal you think you could beat in a fight, though. Realistically, don't fuck with me. Don't be like, no, I can beat a gorilla. Oh, I can take a lion or something. No, be realistic. Like, think like a sloth. Think like a panda. Pandas are so cute. Pandas are probably vicious. Pandas are very big. Be realistic. Don't throw some bullshit ass answer at me to try to be impressive or whatever. Be honest. Don't say gorilla. We all know no one can beat a gorilla. If you think you can, get out of here. All right, let's move on from what animals we can fight to let's talk about some wrestling, but not, we're not going to get in depth on like, what's going on in wrestling and stuff, or what happened this past week on SmackDown with the TLC match, which was incredible, because I'm going to save all that to talk about on my new wrestling show that I am planning on debuting this week. I'll be honest with you guys. Since I left Stash Club and I've been doing this on my own, I've missed talking about wrestling, like weekly wrestling stuff. Of course, I do the daily wrestling content. I put out, the daily wrestling videos and all that stuff, and it's great. I love it. But I do miss having that time during the week to recap everything, give my thoughts on what happened during the week, the stories, matches, everything like that. I gave predictions for WrestleMania. I gave my review afterwards. I live streamed WrestleMania, and it was awesome. Like everyone, the videos I put out did well. People loved the live streams and the reviews and everything. And seeing the reception and the feeling of missing it as well. Um, I just kind of was like, you know what, fuck it. Like I wanted to take some time, kind of build up this channel, the subscribers and stuff, and then jump into it once I'm at like a steady pace. But at the same time, like I thought about it, and although like that strategy is like there's nothing wrong with it or anything, it's people. A lot of people recognize me, know me from a wrestling podcast, and giving my wrestling thoughts and opinions. So I feel like that's something that I should continue to do because one, I enjoy it, I like it, and there is an audience for that. And I think that there will be enough people to watch it weekly where we can grow it and we can continue to, we can build it up. It can become its own standalone thing. And, it could really be a staple for this channel, just like talking to myself is. Having talked to myself, just like a regular podcast where we talk about life stuff, anything other than wrestling, I think is good to have. And then having just a wrestling show where we talk about only wrestling. That's what I want. I think that's what I'm going to be doing. I have a few different names I'm throwing around. I put it in the YouTube community, the post. If you guys haven't seen that, I have a few names I'm throwing around are the Golden Era, Break It Down, and the Wrestling Show About Nothing. The Golden Era is just kind of like, I look at it like we're in the golden era. Like watching wrestling right now, like it's always the golden era. It's always great, and it's just so popular. So that's kind of my perspective there. Break It Down, simple, goes off of DX. We're breaking down weekly wrestling, wrestling stories, matches, all that stuff. And the Wrestling Show About Nothing, where it's a recap and we just kind of shoot the shit and we're just kind of talking, laid back, having a good time. I think I'm between Break It Down and Wrestling Show About Nothing. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on a potential name. If you guys hate those names and you have a better suggestion, I'd like to hear it. And just your overall thoughts on having a wrestling show. I know there's some people that might subscribe to me and all that and don't care about the wrestling. That's fine. That's cool. But I know there are people that do. So I want to kind of put something out there. I want to put out content that everyone can connect to and someone can find something and be like, I'm looking forward to watching that weekly or something they can grab and hold on to. Plan on putting it out like on a Wednesday or something like that. I feel like that's a good middle part of the week where it's the night after NXT, 2 nights removed from Raw, right before SmackDown. I think that would be a good placement. Let me know. I'm excited about the idea of it, again, because I miss talking about weekly wrestling stuff. And like I'm watching the TLC match on SmackDown and I'm just like, man, I wish I could sit down and just break down this match and talk about it. And that's what I plan on doing. So be prepared for a wrestling show debut coming out this week. If not, it'll be coming out very soon. But that's just kind of what I have going on right now. I think it'll be a good time. Let's move on to some sports talk. And we had the NFL draft this past week, as well as the NBA playoffs continuing to roll on. So we'll start with the NFL draft. The New England Patriots had a good draft. They had a really good draft. The number 1 pick this year was Cam Ward. He went to the Tennessee Titans. There was no doubt about that. Travis Hunter went number 2 overall. After the Jaguars traded with the Browns. So the Browns had the number 2 pick. The Jaguars, who had the 5th pick, traded up. They traded the number 5 pick, a first-round pick next year, then I think a second-round pick, and then another pick, trade up. Travis Hunter is a once-in-a-generation player, so he was never going to slip, but I was fucking praying he somehow slipped. That some of the interviews, maybe I was hoping didn't go well, and they just didn't want to draft him, and he fell in our laps. And then Abdul Carter went to the Giants, which another guy I really, really, really wish he fell, and the Patriots kind of just had him fall in their lap. I didn't set my expectations too high because I knew that wasn't going to happen. But so those were the top 3 picks. The Patriots had number 4. Things could have been a whole lot easier if they just lost their last game of the season and they got the number 1 pick. Would have been awesome. Unfortunately, that's not what happened. With the 4th pick, they took offensive tackle Will Campbell from LSU. In the 2nd round, they took running back Travion Henderson from Ohio State. And in the third round, they took Kyle Williams with the 69th pick. Very nice. Wide receiver from Washington State. And then they filled out the rest of the draft with some offensive linemen, some safeties, some D tackles, a lot of defensive players. I think they took the first kicker off the board. Their top few picks, money. I am so hyped about getting Will Campbell. I'm happy we got Will Campbell, and I think he is going to be huge on the Patriots. The first thing he said, he was getting interviewed after, he said, I'm willing to die for Drake May and this organization, and he's going to put his life on the line. That is the guy that I want leading the charge. That is the guy I want defending my quarterback. That's the guy who I want on the field every single game. It's just like Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter they were by far the two best players in the draft and are going to be generational. Will Campbell's going to be really good, but the drop off from Carter to Campbell was like, it was tough, but still very happy we got him. Travion Henderson, I think that they just let go of, they didn't let go of Stevenson. I think they just released a running back, Patriots. Who did they release someone? Definitely not Stevenson. Maybe it was, Antonio Gibson or something like that. I could be wrong. Doesn't matter. Travion Henderson, though, is a beast. I will admit, I'm not the biggest college sports fan in the world, like college football, basketball, so I'm not going to sit here and be like, I've been watching him since he first stepped onto the college field or even back in high school and stuff. Like, I'm not going to act like I know much about him. I've seen highlights and stuff, and he looks like a difference maker. He looks like a playmaker. So him and Stevenson together can be really solid. And then Kyle Williams, this guy is going to step into training camp as the second best wide receiver on this team. The Patriots wide receiver core is not good, really. Stephon Diggs, they signed this offseason. I'm okay with Diggs. He's coming off an ACL injury, which is never ideal. And I think he's either 30 or 31. Let's see how old Stephon Diggs is. I think he's 31. He just turned 31, or he's about to turn 31. Turned 31. He turns 32 in November. They gave him a good amount of money, but it really is front loaded and it's not guaranteed. It's 3 years. The the last 2 years aren't guaranteed. So it's looking like they got the best wide receiver on the board or available in free agency. He's a vet, and he did a lot of great stuff with Josh Allen for his development. Granted, Diggs was a lot younger. I don't think 31 is an outrageous age for a wide receiver. I think that it could be worse. He could be 32. He could be 33. I think just with technology and where we're at nowadays with his ACL injury, it's a lot different now. It's a lot, I wouldn't say easier, but the recovery is a lot smoother. It could be a lot smoother and a lot quicker than before. So Diggs is going to be good for week 1. That was, a guarantee when they signed the deal. Were there other guys that I would have preferred them to get, before they got signed and stuff? Absolutely. I would have loved a T. Higgins. I would have loved a A.J. Brown if we traded for him. But Stephon Diggs, he's going to do well for us. But we had to get him because the next guy up now is going to be Kyle Williams. So it just tells you a lot about our wide receiver room. Yeah, I think, and they also got Craig Woodson. Is he the son of Charles Woodson? Is he? Hold on. He was drafted by the Patriots. He plays a bunch of different positions. Had 245 tackles, a few interceptions, some forced fumbles. Is he the son? Hold on. Who are Craig? Oh no. Gregory Woodson is his parent. I don't know why. I just kind of went off of the Woodson name and just thought that there was some relation there. He is the son of Helen Fay and Gregory Woodson. He was born in February 20th, 2001. Crazy. So fucking young. Okay. So yeah, I'm a fan of the Patriots draft. I think they got some good guys for Drake May. This draft was 1,000% a let's stock up on guys that can protect Drake May, that we can throw him the ball to, that can help him in the backfield, and I think they accomplished just that. One other thing that happened is Shedeur Sanders slipped like crazy. He was a top 3 projected pick for like the last year, I feel like. Some even have him going number 1 overall for a while before Cam Ward eventually took that spot, excuse me. But Shedeur Sanders, I was hoping he was going to go top 3 because if he did, that meant either Hunter or Carter was going to slip to us. But realistically, I didn't think he was a top like 3 talent in the draft. It's a weaker quarterback draft. It's a very weak quarterback draft. So I feel like he could have slipped that high. Depending, because some teams are desperate, some teams need quarterbacks. So it was depending on who was selecting. But the fact that one, he went past the top 3, and then the next team, you had the Raiders, didn't take him. You had the Saints, who not only didn't take him, but he got a prank call from, I think it was the Falcons defensive coordinator's son prank called him saying he was the Saints. That's fucked up. Like pranks, obviously a good prank is a good prank, but that was not right. Then the Steelers had pick 21. They didn't get him. Next thing you know, the first round is over. Well, the Giants traded back into the first round, took another quarterback, Jackson Dart. First round's over. He doesn't get selected. Second round comes around. He doesn't get selected. Third round doesn't get selected. He got selected, I believe it was pick 144 by the Browns. He was selected at pick 144 in the 5th round. The Browns, who had the number 2 pick, who traded out of the pick to move down and get other stuff, they could have taken him at number 2, but they waited till the 5th round. There's been a lot of talk about like his pre-draft interviews didn't go well. A lot of people are talking about his talent and stuff. He's got talent. He's a good quarterback. I wouldn't have wasted a top 3 pick on him personally, but I was shocked to see him slip as much as he did. So I'm rooting for Sanders. I truly am. I hope he takes this as motivation, as a chip on his shoulder, and shows out. He's in Cleveland, so I'm rooting for him, but I don't expect the best for him because that organization ruins careers, and I can see it going that way for Sanders. So we'll see how it goes, but it was crazy that he slipped as much as he did. Let's talk about the Boston Celtics for a little bit, and then we'll move on to comments of the week. Last week we did that, and I didn't say comments of the week not sponsored by Chipotle. I just said Q&A. I don't know what was wrong with me, but we are going to talk about the Boston Celtics. The playoffs are, we are officially in the middle of the playoffs. Started last week. The Celtics are up 3-1 against the Orlando Magic. They won the first 2 games, lost the third. Drew Holiday's been out the last 2 games, and they just won the 4th game in Orlando. They're going back to Boston, up 3-1. I think when I gave my preview a few weeks ago talking about the Celtics, I think I mentioned that this was going to be a 5-game series. The Magic were always going to get one at home, and make this a gentleman's sweep. The Celtics, they're obviously good enough where they should sweep a team like this, but the Magic, they're pesky. They're hard-nosed. They can make things difficult. I'm not saying they're not dirty. They're not a dirty team, but there are some plays that they make that were pretty questionable, thing that they're trying to hurt us. The Celtics have also had their fair share of injuries. Like I mentioned, Drew Holiday's been out the last 2 games. Jalen's been dealing with his lingering knee issue. Jason Tatum missed game 3. I think it was because of his wrist. Was it game 3 that he missed, or is it Yeah, no, it was game 3 that he missed because he played games 1 and 2. But I'm confident that they're going to close it out in 5 games. Next up, they'll have the Knicks and the Pistons, or the Pistons. The Knicks are up 3-1 in that series. It's going back to New York, too. It's looking like the Knicks are going to win that. Bucks, Pacers, Damian Lillard looking like he tore his Achilles, which is... Yeah, you hate to see that. I just talked about Stephon Diggs and how, with technology nowadays, it's smoother, or it's an easier recovery process than years ago. But Lillard is 35 years old. He had a strained Achilles last year, I think, for the playoffs or whatever it was. I hate that it looks like Damian Lillard's career is going to he was Trailblazer legend, one of the best point guards of this generation. Then he gets traded to Milwaukee, and it's like, nothing happens. And it's a shame that it's like that's how it's going to be. He got traded out of Portland finally. We were hoping he was going to compete for championships and won't go down as one of the best players to never win a title, but it's tough, man. I love Damian Lillard too. It's really it's hard to see something like that happen. And he just came back from a blood clot too. Just got a blood clot like a month ago. Made his comeback, made his return, and tore his Achilles. It's shitty. They're down 3-1 the Bucks, so it's looking like their season's about to end. And well, we can talk about it some other time, but Giannis, I'm like 50-50 on whether he's going to be back in Milwaukee next year. I was going to say I might be leaning more towards the side of like, I might be surprised if he's still a Buck next year. Crazy how quickly things changed. They made some bad trades. They made some, maybe not bad, but like trading for Lillard. Like at the time, you see that, you see the opportunity, you want to take it, but hindsight 2020, they made some moves that killed their franchise and is looking like it's going to drive their franchise star out of town. Crazy, crazy, crazy. But yeah, we don't have to get into the playoffs too much. First round still going on. The Thunder did sweep the Grizzlies. That's the only sweep so far. The Cavs can sweep the Heat tonight. They're up 3-0. But yeah, Celtics up 3-1. We'll see who they face next round. If they still have to win, but we'll see how that series plays out. Shout out to Peyton Pritchard, 6th man of the year. Peyton Pritchard, my man. Absolutely been a blast watching this guy grow and get better and better each and every year since we drafted him. He is electric. He is small PP. He is fast PP. He is dangerous PP. He is 6th man of the year PP. Love Peyton Pritchard. It's so crazy how just 2-3 years ago he wanted to get a trade. He wanted to get out of there because Malcolm Brogdon was taking up some time. They were like, listen, we'll give you a bigger role. He stepped into that role. He killed it. He steps into this year, embracing the 6th man role. And he wins the damn award. One of the most underrated and underpaid. He only makes like $6-7 million a year for the next 4 years. So we have the 6th man of the year on lock for dirt cheap. Brad Stevens is a genius. Peyton Pritchard's awesome. Shout out to him. 2 6th man of the year awards within the last like 3 years, which is pretty crazy. We keep producing 6th men. Let's move on to comments of the week. Not sponsored by Chipotle. We're going to keep saying that until we are sponsored by Chipotle. Chipotle, I missed it last week. I didn't say not sponsored by Chipotle. I hope that doesn't ruin anything between us, but I said it this week. Forgive me. Give me that sponsorship. Okay, first question we have, and arguably the most important. Did you ever purchase the Cody Rhodes and the Undertaker skins from Fortnite? Jared, absolutely. I only purchased the Undertaker one, though. I didn't get the Cody Rhodes one because the bundles, it's so expensive. One thing I hate about Fortnite is the fact that if you want to buy V-Bucks, you have to buy set amounts. Like, I wish you can buy, and this is for any game, I guess, that has virtual currency. I wish I could just buy what I need. So, like, the bundle was 2,800 V-Bucks or whatever. Let's say I have 2,600 V-Bucks, but I have to spend $10 to get 1,000. I wish I only had to spend like $3 to get 200 or something like that. That was the situation I was in with getting one skin or the bundle. I was like, I have enough to get one of the skins, but not the whole thing. So I got the Undertaker skin. Cody wrote, they both look awesome, but I think the Undertaker one is a bit more like iconic. And like a few of my friends also got the Undertaker skin. So it's like we all got matching Undertaker skins. So yes, I did get the Undertaker skin, not the Cody Rhodes. I'll probably end up getting it at some point. Like I come across some V-Bucks or something like that. I probably will, but for now, I'm going to stick with the Undertaker. It looks sick, so I'm happy with my purchase. Which WrestleMania main event was worse? WrestleMania 41 main event night 2 or WrestleMania 34 main event? So John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. Obviously, John Cena won the 17th championship with the help of Travis Scott. Or Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. So I'm going to say the answer is WrestleMania 34 because WrestleMania 34, the match was bad and the result was terrible. For WrestleMania 41, the match was, I wouldn't say it was a great match. I wouldn't say it was a bad match. I think the match fit the character, John Cena's character of trying to ruin wrestling, where it was a boring match, but it was a wrestling match. It was a slow paced, like it reminded me of like older wrestling and stuff like that. But it's part of the story and everything. So I don't think the match was bad. It was just the decision and how we got to the decision. Cody Rhodes worked so hard, being a credible champion. He defeated Roman Reigns last year. He had big shoes to fill. Had an incredible reign facing the likes of AJ, Kevin Owens, Solo Sikoa. He had a really, really memorable reign, had some great matches. And again, beat Roman Reigns, ending his 1,300-day reign, just to lose a year later because he got distracted by a mainstream rapper. Like, logically speaking, that should have never happened. Cody Rhodes looked like a bitch, going from beating Roman Reigns to losing to Cena. It's not that he lost to Cena. It's that he lost to Cena because he was too caught up with Travis Scott, and Travis Scott was a big part of the result. The result of WrestleMania 34 was bad. Roman Reigns should have won, and the match was bad. The result of WrestleMania 41 wasn't bad. Like, I have no issue with Cena winning. And the match itself wasn't terrible either, like I mentioned. It was how he got to the end. That's the story that was told in the match with Travis Scott was worse than anything that happened in 34, in my opinion. But Brock Lesnar should have never won, and the match was objectively bad. It's hard to find something worse than that. Travis Scott tried. He tried, but it didn't work. Least favorite movie and why? That's actually a really good question. What's my least favorite or least rated movie on Letterboxd? Oh, Hereditary is my least favorite movie of all time. Is a movie that there's movies like, oh, I'll never watch that again. Hereditary is easily the one movie I will never watch again. I hated it. Hated everything about it. Watched it with my roommates in college. We all would like pick a movie to watch. My roommate Dylan picked this. I said, you're not allowed to pick movies ever again. If you are, I'm not watching. That for me personally, but I know it has like a 4-star average rating on Letterboxd. Not for me. My lowest rated movie I have is The Shallows with Blake Lively. This was one of the only movies I genuinely almost walked out of. Me and my friend saw this so it came out in 2016. So I had to have been the summer going into college. Yeah, I had to have been the summer going into college. Me and my friends saw this, and one of our friends fell asleep, and two, me and my other buddy legitimately almost left. The CGI was terrible. The story was terrible. It has a 2.9 average rating. And there are some people that I follow on Letterboxd. Like, someone gave it a 3.5. Someone gave it a 4.5 rating, which I do not agree with. I was a one-time watch. Should I go back and watch it to see if it really is that bad? Probably. But off of one watch 9 years ago, half a star. Hated that movie. I thought Suicide Squad, that is my second lowest rated film on Letterboxd, because that movie I've heard mixed things about it, mostly bad, and it's one of those like, you either love it or you hate it. I hated it. I thought I was going to at least find something in it that was enjoyable that I could hold on to. I didn't. It was not good. And then 65 with Adam Driver. That movie came out in 2023. It was a spaceship crashed, on an Earth-like planet, it did crash on Earth, but it was when the dinosaurs were there. So him and some other girl, I think it was a girl. Yeah, him and someone else get stranded, and they're fighting off dinosaurs. I saw it in the theaters. It was me and one other guy in that theater. It was so bad. I'm surprised I'm surprised both of us stayed in the theater, to be honest with you. I'm not the one to walk out because I want to get my money's worth, but I was surprised that guy didn't walk out, because it was definitely worth walking out of. To answer the question, though, I'm probably going to pick Hereditary because fuck that movie, but that's just like a personal thing. Overall, like as far as movie quality and how bad it was, I'll go with The Shallows. When it comes to the WWE draft, are you a fan of the modern sports-like era of it, or did you prefer the more random game show-esque version of it? I'll be honest, I loved the random aspect of it a whole lot more because it was unpredictable. Because if you're doing like the draft in the sense of like, we're going to draft people based off of their talent and like what we can do, I think that it makes sense, and that's what every sport does, but it makes it predictable. It's like, okay, we know who the top guys are, and they do have like certain rules where it's like these people can't get drafted, champions can't get drafted. I personally think that's stupid. That's why I like the random part, because it's like then champions can get moved around and stuff. I remember back when they used to do the random, I think it was 2008, they even swapped the announce table, the announce teams. It was Jerry Lawler got drafted to, or no, it was Jim Ross got drafted to SmackDown. Michael Cole got sent to Raw. That stuff was awesome. Not that I don't like the whole like regular draft aspect. You draft based off talent, who's the best, but the random aspect of it, I think is, I don't know. I think it's more fun. It's more engaging, and it's more surprising things can happen, and it can make the draft itself more memorable. So I'm going to say the random game show aspect of it, I don't know if they'll ever bring it back. I hope they do, because the draft has been kind of for a while now, and maybe bringing back something like that will spice it up a bit. Last question. Who's the one guy that you would personally really prefer to join Seth, Braun, and Heyman? Just one. I'm honestly between Carmelo Hayes and Austin Theory. I think I'm going to go with Austin Theory because I just feel like, I don't know. He has history with Seth Rollins. They were in a group before, and I've always been high on Theory. I think Carmelo Hayes in that group would be absolutely money, and I think it does maybe make more sense of like him and Braun Breaker came up together, and we can, really compare them to the modern day Batista and John Cena, or fucking, I don't know who else, but I think those two coming up together, being in the same group together, and their styles are so different, where Braun Breaker's a big, big, fast, strong, athletic guy, where Carmelo is more of a high flyer, very athletic, very quick. You put those guys together, and you have Seth Rollins, leading the way, having both them under his wing, and Paul Heyman being there as well. You can't go wrong with Hayes or Theory. I just think Theory has been someone that I've always liked and I've had a soft spot for, and I don't think he deserves, he's been given the shit end of the stick. Like, since he's come up to the main roster, everything with Vince, he was shoved down people's throats, given the Money in the Bank, the United States Championship reigns. A lot of the stuff, a lot of negative things that happened during his career so far, I don't think have been his fault. I think he deserves a chance to actually be pushed and be put in a prominent spotlight and be given a good story. I feel like since Triple H has been at the head of, creative and stuff, Theory still hasn't been given that opportunity. He's won a tag team championship, and he's been with A-Town Down Under, but that group has long, they've overstayed their welcome. I hope they break up soon. I'd be fine with either one. I'm leaning towards Theory because, again, there's history with Seth, and I want him to finally get his shine. And I think Carmelo is a single star. Carmelo doesn't need the group. I'm not saying Theory does, but Carmelo will be totally fine as a solo star, and he would kill it. I'd be fine with either one. I'm leaning more towards Theory right now, though. And there you have it, everyone. That is the last comment of the week. That is Talking to Myself, episode 21. Thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed this episode. We talked about a good amount of stuff. We talked about some sports. We talked about some new wrestling shows. We talked about what animals we would beat in a fight. And please, 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 again, let me know in the comments what animal you think you could beat in a fight. None of that gorilla shit. I don't want to hear it. And yeah, so thank you guys again for watching. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Keep your eyes out for my new wrestling show that will be coming out either this Wednesday or next Wednesday. I want it to be this Wednesday, so hopefully I can get it out sooner than later. But keep your eye out for that. Hope you have a great rest of the day, everyone. I'll talk to you. Peace.